With an amendment in the Child Care and Adoption Act, persons who apply to adopt children will now have a clear path with the removal of a legal impediment. According to Eugene Hamilton, the Minister with responsibility for social services, the adoption committee could not be properly constituted and it has been impacting the ability of nationals to adopt children in the Federation.
Now, I should mention here, Mr. Speaker, you and the public to understand that when this bit of legislation was drafted, as it mentioned, it was an omnibus bit of legislation. It took into account that in many countries in the region, the Director of Social Services is the person who is charged with the responsibility in those countries. In St. Kitts, however, it is different. In St. Kitts, that responsibility rests not with the Director of Social Services, but with the Director of Probation and Child Protection Services. And that is why I say, Mr. Speaker, that the Act is very simple. The amendment is very simple. It is to make sure that the correct officer, position is provided in the Act for the person to be appointed and that committee put in place.
Opposition Member of Parliament Dr. Joy Clark said the amendments were important in dealing with associated legal issues in the adoption process.
Both persons who supported the bill explained why even though the bill was passed in 2013, we haven't had any establishment of the adoption committee. And we want also to make it very clear that this is critical because parents are waiting to adopt, even if it's just one parent. Parents, even if it's just a few scenarios, we have parents who want to adopt here in St. Kitts. It's becoming increasingly popular and very critical for those who can afford to adopt. We have very simple issues which lawyers have made very clear that even in terms of inheritance, where parents are fostering for 5 to 6 years and really want to establish and cement their relationship with those who they are fostering, they need this critical piece of legislation amended and passed so these can move forward.
Former Minister with responsibility for social services, Wendy Phipps, outlined key benefits and impact on child adoption.
Essentially, what we are trying to achieve here by giving these children an opportunity to be adopted is to give them a new life in some cases. In a number of the cases, it is an issue where perhaps the mother would have had the child as a result of rape or incest, or their parents would have died. In some cases, it could have been as a result of the mother having had chronic drug use, and as a result of that, a child of that nature may have been born with certain disabilities. And it is not every person who wants a child that appears to be not whole. In other instances, it could be that the child would have been born to a parent who may have had HIV/AIDS, and as a result of that, there is stigma associated with that as well. So the avenue of adoption provides that opportunity for that child to have as normal a life as possible, in spite of the vulnerabilities and the other circumstances that would have been conspiring against the normal development of that individual.
It is understood that the adoption of children in St. Kitts and Nevis is becoming increasingly popular. Glenn Barrett reporting for SKN Newsline.